Coming up next is Dr. Kimberly Taylor. Here's your chance to talk about what matters to you. Although you will receive helpful advice from Dr. Taylor, remember, this is not to be construed as a form of psychotherapy, diagnosis, or treatment, and cannot replace a therapeutic relationship with a mental health professional. You can reach Dr. Taylor by calling 564-1290 or toll free at 866-564-1290. You can also listen live on the internet at drkimtaylorshow.com. So here now is Dr. Kimberly Taylor.
Welcome to the program. We're talking about the power of choice today, and I have a question for you. If you were given only one choice, to choose or not to choose, which would you choose? The biggest step towards personal freedom is to really understand and acknowledge that we always have the power of choice. No matter what happens, we still have the freedom to choose. Even when it seems that there is no option, there is always something else that can be done when we choose how we are going to respond to what has just happened. People often say that things just happen to them in their life and they feel they have no choice. I have people who tell me all the time in therapy that they see their life as a series of events that they respond to, but they don't feel they have any significant impact on its eventual outcome. But the truth is, while we may not have control over what is happening to us, we always have control over how we choose to respond to what has just happened. And make no mistake, the choice you make will determine how you think about it and ultimately how you feel about it. Our lives are the result of the decisions that we make or don't make. There are 1,000 little choices that we have to make every day, and every one of them counts. Do I get up in the morning when my alarm clock goes off, or do I hit the snooze button and be late for work? Do I pay my bills on time or screw up my credit rating? Do I stay at a job I don't like or take a risk to find what I will love? Do I stay in a relationship where I do not feel loved, or do I let go and move on? We need to understand that our lives are the result of the choices we make on a daily basis. Dennis Waitley said, there are two primary choices in life: to accept conditions as they exist or accept the responsibility for changing them. What choices are you in the process of making in your own life? Some of these choices are personal and significant. Some will come with great consequences, and others may seem small and insignificant. Learning what to choose and how to choose may be one of the most important lessons we learn in life. We are what we choose. Our choices will determine our character. When we start to acknowledge that we always have choices and are responsible for the choices we make, we become empowered and we gain more control over our lives. But when we give up our choice, we feel powerless, and others may take advantage of us. We may want to blame the other person, but it is our responsibility to know what we need and to make our choices known. If we don't stand up for our needs, then it's just too easy for others to ignore them too. We are talking about helping you to wake up and take responsibility for your life and the direction that it is headed. The path you choose when responding to any given situation that presents itself to you will determine the rest of your life and how you feel about it. Viktor Frankl said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." So only people who accept responsibility for their choices are really able to grow and change. And once you realize that you and only you are in direct control of this, then you can begin to manage your life and be open to exploring exciting and new possibilities that will lead you in the direction you want to go. In Alice in Wonderland, Lewis Carroll writes, "Alice came to a fork in the road. 'Which road do I take?' she asked. 'Where do you want to go?' responded the Cheshire Cat. 'I don't know,' Alice answered. 'Then,' said the cat, 'it doesn't matter.'" I will be right back after the break to take your calls with whatever is on your mind today. I invite you to call in and share what's happening in your life. What are the choices that you need to make? This is a place to talk where we can work it out together. This hour of the week is for you. My screener, Sandy Jacoy, is standing by now to take your calls. She will be here to help you form your questions and get you ready before I take your call online. So get on the phone and give me a call at 564-1290 or toll free at 866-564-1290. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290.
You are listening to Dr. Kimberly Taylor. You can reach her by calling 564-1290 or toll free at 866-564-1290.
We're back on the phone. This is Dr. Taylor, and we're talking to Ann. Hi, Ann.
Hi, Dr. Taylor. How are you today?
I'm good. What's going on with you?
Well, I'm glad that I got an opportunity to get through. I have a parenting question, and it's something I've been struggling with for a while, my husband and I both. So I'll just give you a little bit of background and then present the question. I have 3 kids that are living in my house, all adults, and I've been a stay-at-home mom most of their childhood. A few years ago, I went back to school and got a full-time position where I was working some really long hours. The kids continued to grow up and do what they're doing, and there are places in their life where they're pretty much self-sufficient. 2 of them, my oldest son, who is 23, and my daughter, who is 20, are still living at home. Our middle son has just recently left to go to school. And so the issue has been since I actually went back to school and then back to work, has been this struggle for me to try to get them to help me with the daily household chores of managing a household. And I've tried everything from reasoning with them to asking them politely to putting their dishes dirty in their bedroom to see if they would notice. I've tried everything, and I'm finding myself incredibly resentful.
Mm-hmm.
They're not disrespectful. There's it's a fairly happy household. Not that everybody doesn't have some problems, but I'm just really struggling liking them when I get home at the end of the day and feeling, frankly, like I just want them out of my house.
And have you told them that?
Yes.
And they say,
"Oh, we're sorry. Yeah, don't worry. I'll take care of it. It won't happen again."
So, Ann, they've been in your house for a very long time. You were a stay-at-home mom. Did they have chores back then?
Yes, they did.
And did they do them?
Not very faithfully.
Okay. And what were the consequences?
The consequences is they got away with it, and I did it anyways.
Oh, so this is nothing new.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I know. If I could go back and change some of those things, at that point it was just I had 3 and 4 years, some struggles with some of them, and just the overwhelming sense of so much to do,
mm-hmm.
and so very little time to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
making an excuse, but yeah.
Okay, so you sound like all of the other overworked parents out there who want to have their kids behave, but they're absolutely too tired to hold to the rules and to put out the consequences and to be consistent with that.
Yes.
Because all that takes a lot of work and a lot of time.
Oh, boy, does it.
I know. So here we are. Your kids are 23, 20, and then you have a middle one, so somewhere in between 23 and 20, and they're just doing the same thing that they have always done, which is that they can get away with it, and mom will do it anyway.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that makes me mad.
At?
Them first, me second, although it may need to be the other way around.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because you have only taught them that they can do this.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of like the good news, bad news. The bad news is that you've taught them this, but the good news is if you have taught them this, you can re-teach them something else, but you would have to change. You would have to be willing to become that parent who has more firm boundaries and is consistent in handing out consequences.
Yes. So how do I do that? Where do I start with something like that?
Well, at this point in time, you have kids of the age that they can go out and work on their own and find a roof over their own heads.
Mm-hmm.
You might want to have a family meeting and tell them that you have to own up to your part of this, that you may not have taught them as well as you could have, that there are consequences for poor behavior or not doing their chores or not being a part of the family to help the family run more smoothly. But that the prereq now and what they need to get is that you've kind of had it. And unless they're going to be on board, unless they're really going to truly help with having the house run and doing their part and even chipping in and doing some chores, that you aren't interested in continuing to take care of them because they are now adults.
Can you tell them that? You said that.
It isn't easy, but it is what you need to do, because you have to teach them that this is the way the world works. They can't just go around doing what they want and then not doing their part, because it doesn't also teach them a sense of responsibility.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's time again when you sit down with them. Forgive everybody. Forgive yourself. Forgive them. Tell them that's going to be a new start. It's going to be tough for everybody, but that you're all going to be and need to be committed to doing this and to just create this change.
Right. Thank you. I like the forgiveness piece.
Yeah.
For everybody involved. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,
Very
Ann.
helpful.
All right. Take care.
You too.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for calling. Bye-bye. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290.
You are listening to Dr. Kimberly Taylor. You can reach her by calling 564-1290 or toll free at 866-564-1290.
Hi, this is Kim Taylor, and we're on the phone now with Jacob. Hi, Jacob. How are you today?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'm just calling in. Right now at my work, I'm looking to advance in my work, and I've been told that I need to work on my communication style. Everyone at my work, all my peers and my managers think that I'd be a good candidate to move up, but some of the other managers in different departments aren't necessarily convinced, and so I've been tasked with having to try and change the perception of these people. And I've told that my communication style could be a little brash or kind of overbearing sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wondering if maybe you have any kind of suggestions of maybe how I could help work on that, because I just can't figure it out. I don't know why sometimes, like with my communication style or when I'm talking about a subject to different departments, I feel like I have to kind of take control of the situation.
You certainly have a voice that is clear and articulate. You certainly express the problem. Is there anything that you think that you do when you get in front of some of these people that makes you more nervous or more anxious in a way that would change the way you talk?
I think some of it has to do with, it's mostly towards the sales staff that we have here at my facility, and I kind of have a preconceived notion of the sales staff, which is something probably I have to work on as well, that they're just in it for the commission and they don't really care about the bottom line, and that's something that my department and myself in particular have to care about all the time. So I think I go into the conversation thinking that way, and so I kind of have to make them see my point.
Okay, so does that mean you're a little bit frustrated, you're a little bit angry with them?
A little bit.
Okay, and how does your voice change when that happens? What do you notice?
I think I start to speed up a little bit in my delivery, and maybe not let people get in, maybe their ideas. I think I start to take over the conversation because I have a preconceived notion of where I believe they're going to try and take it,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've used that word twice, that you have a preconceived notion about how they are going to be. So it's almost what you're saying is that if that's true and you're standing in front of somebody and you're talking to them, you don't leave them any room for themselves because you're playing both parts. You think you already know what it is they're thinking or what they're going to say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, how do you think people feel when people run over them? When people assume?
Yeah, I'd never thought about it that way. I get kind of frustrated when people do that to myself, and you feel kind of demoralized a little bit, like you're not worth them listening to, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
That's
yeah,
right
I guess
on.
that could be part of it.
Mm-hmm. So for you to start to look at the different pieces or the parts that you have to look at how you're feeling when you go into something, and then to know how you're going to project that, because that's what's having the impact here. If you are already frustrated with someone, your voice is going to come across as frustrated.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is if you want to advance and to become a manager or the boss of someone, you have to find a way to get the best out of your employees. So what you need to learn to do is to engage them in the process, not tell them.
Yeah.
Because
I've been told that.
if you come in there feeling like you know the answer, or that you want them to do what it is that you think that they should be doing, what they feel is that they don't matter, they're not valued. So you want to engage them in whatever it is that you need from them and ask for their help. Say, I'm coming in here and I really want your thoughts about this. I want to know what you're thinking about this. Let's work together to make this right.
Never thought about that before. I mean, I do that sometimes, and I have realized the times where I do that, and I do go in there asking for their advice, or if they can brainstorm with me on a certain subject. I do tend to get further in the conversation and more towards what I need to have accomplished than I do when I just go in there not really demanding, but just being a little bit overbearing.
That's right. So becoming more conscious of how you are talking so that you hear your own voice and you say it in a way that you would want to hear it if someone was saying the same thing to you. And that is the part that you need to change, because whether it's your excitement or your anxiety, because they both work the same way, it is going to, you actually just need to know that you have a tendency to really speed up, whether you're excited, whether you're trying to get a point across to someone, or whether you are anxious, that you tend to really speed up and then take all the oxygen in the room. So slow it down.
I've noticed something before. Like, well, it's just a thought that goes in my head when that happens. Sometimes is that it feels like I think I do that sometimes when I start speeding up, because I don't want to get interrupted and have someone else start telling me what they think.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to start doing that more.
Yes.
So I think that's why I start speeding up, so I can get it all out before they have a chance to say anything.
Okay, and it is right there is where you are having the whole problem. Every time you speed up is the exact time that you're supposed to slow down.
Yeah.
That is the moment right there that you can change, but you can't do it unless you recognize it in the moment that it's going on. That in that moment when you feel like speeding up, you feel like getting your point across, is the exact moment you have to stop yourself and let the other person into the conversation, so that they feel like it's a two-way rather than just you've come in there and it's just the world according to Jacob. You have a great voice. If you just take this next step, I think you're going to find that by you changing, these other people are going to change their reaction to you.
Okay.
Okay, Jacob?
I'll definitely try that. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care.
You too.
I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. Okay, we just got an email in from Jody. It's a quote about choice. And this quote is, "To say you have no choice is to relieve yourself of responsibility." That's a good one, because even when we don't choose, it's still a choice. Let's see, that quote was from Patrick Ness in Monsters of Men. And then Cheryl sent in a quote too. It's, "We don't get to choose what is true. We only get to choose what we do about it." That's from A Beautiful Darkness. So let's go on to the next caller. Thanks for your emails. Hi, this is Dr. Kim Taylor, and we're on the phone with Samantha. Hi, how can I help you today?
Hi. Well, I'm just having a little bit of, I guess, guy trouble. I've been seeing this guy for a month now, and things have been going really well, and he's been very gentlemanly, and I was really starting to like him, and we actually went to breakfast the other morning, and I realized that I noticed him looking at other girls, and not just kind of in passing glances, but in long, uncomfortable lengths of time. And it really rubbed me the wrong way and kind of made me reconsider how I was feeling about the situation with him. Okay. And I didn't know, when I tried to bring it up to him, he kind of dismissed it. And I wanted to get some advice on how to handle it, or if you think that it's worth trying to talk to him about, because it seemed like he didn't think he had done anything wrong.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 23.
And how old is he?
He's 24.
24. Okay. And how long have you actually been dating?
Just about a month.
Okay. So you are starting to find out things about him that you don't quite like.
Exactly.
Okay. And what I heard you say is that you brought this up to him. What did you say to him?
I just let him know that I kind of made myself a little distant, and he asked what was wrong, and I said that, I really felt uncomfortable with how he was looking at this other girl when we were at breakfast the other morning, and he just kind of blew it off with a joke and didn't really acknowledge that I was being serious with how I felt about it. So I don't know what to do now.
Okay. Well, because you are still dating, I think that you need to think about this as dating is the time for you to be observing. That I think it was really great that you spoke up, that you said that, boy, that kind of felt odd, and it made me feel uncomfortable, because the more honest that you can be with him about what's happening to you in the moment that it is happening, then it gives him a chance to see that what he is doing hurts you. And your job now is to observe, what does he do with that? Does he continue to do it? Does he just blow it off? Or does he take that into account and starts to create some changes?
Exactly. I agree. Mm-hmm. I think that is important.
You don't want to be here to try and change him, to fix him, to tell him he's not doing this right and he's not doing that right. All that you can do is just share what you feel about it and what your thoughts are, and then watch and see what he does. If he truly cares about you, he will listen. He will make some shifts. Guys are always going to look at girls, but there's a way to look and observe without making it seem uncomfortable when you're in that presence, because he also wouldn't like it if you did that about a guy and was sitting at the table and your eyes were on someone else and you weren't even paying attention to him. He wouldn't like that either.
Exactly, and that's how I felt also. So yeah, when I brought that to light about how I felt and he kind of dismissed it, it just really showed me another side of his character that I didn't really like. So I guess I'll have to just see what he does going forward and judge from his intentions that.
That is the best that we can do, and that is what dating is all about. This has all gone on for 1 month. 1 month is nothing. I think it's always good to think about that. You really need to take someone through the paces, and so it is going to take time to really learn about who they are. You will know more who they are when you meet them with your friends, when you meet their friends, when you meet their family. This is all part of that process. And what I am hearing from you, which I'm very glad about, is that you are being able to not just worry that it is something about you, that this is him. Yeah. and so that you can separate that out and still feel good about yourself, but know that you don't choose to be with someone who is more interested in looking at someone else while they're with you than you, because that tells you more about him, and it tells you nothing about you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your advice. I think that you have said some valid points and confirmed some things I was thinking as well. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me about it.
Okay. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, Samantha. Thanks. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. Okay, we're coming back here with another email. And if there are people out there who would like to email, again, you can reach me at Dr. Kim at drkimtaylorshow.com. This email is from Cynthia, and she says, Dear Dr. Kim, I have been happily employed working at the same job for 15 years. The company I work for recently restructured the management team, and I am now working for a female manager. All other managers have been male. I can't stand her. She is controlling and condescending when she speaks to me. I know I'm not the only person in the office that feels this way. I don't know what to do. I am afraid I'm going to lose it and end up transferred or fired. Well, Cynthia, what I would tell you first and foremost is that you cannot take this personally. This isn't about you. Listen to this. She is not controlling and condescending because of who you are. She's that way because of who she is. This is where you have a choice. You can't choose how she's going to act, but you can choose how you're going to think about this and how you're going to feel about this. You would go a long way if you could just start to understand where she comes from. This is a controlling person. She needs to feel important. She wants to be seen as powerful or smart and in charge. Oh, and did I mention that she always needs to be right? I think you probably know that. But deep down, the fear is there of being rejected or found to be unworthy. So it's really true that people like this can hide behind a very demanding and challenging facade. The worst thing that you can do is to really challenge her. You do not want to get into a power struggle and try to control her. If she's in charge, you will lose. You need to see that her behavior is just a limitation, and start to see yourself as a better than that and just more stable. Be polite, be matter of fact, but keep your distance from this person. You can ask reasonable questions. You ask her to explain what she needs and so on, but you appear to be very cooperative. Bottom line is if you can't deal with her without being affected, then you probably do need to leave, just because she's the kind of person that will not change. The good news is that everyone in the office, it sounds like, feels the same way, so the company may find she does not foster a productive environment and get rid of her on their own. But don't count on it. Change yourself. Make it work for you by getting transferred to a place that works for you, but maybe it might be without her being your boss. But again, you get to choose about whether this is going to affect you. Think about that. Let's go on to the next call that's in. I think it's Harry. Hi, this is Kim Taylor, and we're on the phone with Harry. Hi, Harry.
Hi, Dr. Taylor.
What's going on today?
Well, I wanted to speak to you about a sort of an ongoing problem we have in our family. We have a relative who's probably mid-40s, is very well-to-do, and let's say twice a year, he comes to our house, stays for about a week to 10 days, and really never contributes, as far as food. We sort of wait hand and foot on him for, 7 to 10 days, treat him to movies, treat him to dinners, and we keep waiting for him to reciprocate in some way, but it really has never happened.
And why is he invited back?
Well, that's a good question. Mainly because we sort of have a family policy that we don't say no.
Okay, so what you're saying, Harry, is that as long as it's a family policy that you can't say no, what it means is that you are allowing anyone to come into your house, treat you in a disrespectful way, take advantage of you. You end up having really negative feelings about him, which is going to undermine your relationship with him anyway.
Yes.
Okay, so unless you tell him or set some kind of a boundary with him, he will continue to do this because this is what he has been taught that it's okay to do with you. Why are you so afraid of him? Why are you so afraid of telling him the truth?
We're not afraid of telling him the truth. I think it's about, creating a rift in the family.
But I'm sure that he would also not like it if he knew that all the family members were talking about him and that they were resentful about him when he came to visit. Correct?
Probably correct. Yeah.
Okay. So in a very kind and in a very gentle way, tell him that, okay, on Tuesday, dinner is up to you to provide for all of us, and that you share in the cooking or you share in the cleaning, but that you make him a part of your daily process about what happens when people come to visit your home.
Yeah, I think that's a great solution.
Maybe if you just teach him a little bit about that, he'll be more comfortable and you'll be more comfortable within your own home inviting him in. But there is a lot that you can do by changing your behavior that he will then just have to change in response to that. If you don't have him come for a long period of time, if you say, I'm sorry, but we're not going to be able to take you in this time, or we can't take you and your girlfriend, or sure, that's fine, but we are going to have, we are very busy this week, so we're going to have you contribute to your own meals or take care of your own meals. So when you're setting those boundaries, somebody else has to just respond to those, and they'll have to change in response to the change that you'll be making.
Great. Thank you. I think that's great advice.
Okay. Good luck with that. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290.
You are listening to Dr. Kimberly Taylor. You can reach her by calling 564-1290 or toll free at 866-564-1290.
Hi, this is Kim Taylor. I invite you to call in. What are the choices that you need to make in your own life? What are the questions that you might have? You can call in here at 564-1290. Again, you'll talk to Sandy, who is very friendly. She'll give you probably a new name to use so that you won't use your own, and she'll help you form whatever question is on your mind. So give us a call here at 564-1290. We're going to go on the phone now. We have another caller, I believe. Let's see, it is Cheryl. This is Dr. Kim Taylor, and we're on the phone with Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi.
What's going on for you today?
Well, I am stepmother to 4 grown children. I pretty much raised them with my husband. So those issues have been resolved as far as being the stepmom. We did have to go through quite a bit of family counseling, but we made it, and my kids are pretty much my kids now.
Mm-hmm.
My 28-year-old stepson has always been a little bit adrift, and we have a very good relationship, but he's kind of got asked to leave his girlfriend's place, so now he's he's moved out of state where he was, and now he's staying with us until he can get on his feet and get a job and move out.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, my husband's falling back into the same pattern of overhelping, in my opinion, enabling. And I think that we should, I want my son to feel he's loved. I don't want to make life too comfortable for him because I feel then he won't have any real incentive to move out.
Okay, and what is your husband doing that makes you feel like he is enabling him at this time?
One example is I suggested that our son
not watch TV during the day, but spend his time looking for work. And my husband said, well, yeah, most of the time, but, he should be able to watch TV sometimes. And my opinion was, well, no, if he's not watching TV or if he's not looking for a job, then he should be out, weeding or helping around the house or earning his way.
Okay.
Since he's not paying rent.
Okay, but you have a 28-year-old son that it sounds like trying to do all of that is really trying to manage him. Maybe what would be better is to put all the responsibility on this 28-year-old son by really setting the time limit about how long he is welcome to stay without paying rent and without doing more for the household. Because once you do that and light a fire under him, he's going to be a lot more responsible to take action. And that might mean all of these things, like whether he watches TV in the daytime, will just kind of sort themselves out.
Okay. So be very firm about the 2-month time span that he has to find a job and move out.
Okay, now is that a date that both you and your husband set where the deadline is 2 months?
Yes, it was, but my husband's already wavering. So my concern is that it will change, and 2 months will become 3, 3 will become 5, and so on and so on. I'm a little concerned that, he's done this in the past where he's said one thing and done another, and given our boy more leeway, not really standing firm.
Okay, so tell me what you think about your husband, who is finding it hard to find his backbone.
I think a lot of it comes from when he left the kid's mother. He moved out, but she's has had issues with alcoholism for years, and still not resolved. The kids are not close to their mother in any way right now, but the specter looms, and I think my husband always sort of felt like he let the kids down. Now, when he moved out, we had the kids staying with us quite a bit, pretty much every other day.
Okay, but what you were saying is that you're feeling like your husband is doing this because he's feeling guilty.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any reason to believe that your son is using in any way?
Using drugs or anything?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'd know.
Okay.
I'd be able to tell. He has struggled with abuse before, however. Alcohol.
Okay. Well, when you just said that his mother had that problem too, that is something to keep an eye on. But I think it's time that the first thing that you did was really talk to your husband about how you're feeling about him not helping his son at this time, but seeing that he's really doing this all through guilt, and it's not in the best interest of the son. Because what he's doing is he's actually giving him the underlying message that he doesn't believe in him either, that he can get his act together and get out there and find a job and find a life and move forward.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So when I have a sit down tonight with my husband, I can put it in those terms. That's very helpful, because I really didn't. I wanted to express to my husband that I understood where he was coming from, but also give our son a chance to stand on his own 2 feet and get that confidence, because he has a real self-confidence problem.
Well, and part of the way that we do that is that we don't give in to their weakest side. We actually really work toward helping to support that positive side, that we do believe in them, that we do know that they can figure this out. And this most likely is going to come by you setting a boundary that says you are more than welcome to stay here for this amount of time, but after that time you're out. So we are going to leave it to you to figure out how that is going to happen. We are here if there's something that we can help you with, but we are not going to believe that you cannot do this by just letting this go on and on.
Okay, I like that.
Your husband needs...
Very straightforward.
Yes, but he needs to be on board with this first before you can actually present it to your son.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting because I had not thought of the minutia being micromanaging, and I have that tendency to do that. So it was nice to get a little wake-up call for that, and having my husband look at it as, he's not showing his son that he's got confidence in him by allowing him to see. Yeah, I think that would really resonate with my husband as well. So I'll give it a try.
Okay. Thanks for the call. I'm Kimberly Taylor, and you're listening to KZSB AM 1290. Okay, I'm Kim Taylor, and we're back. I have another email. It's from Robert. He's a 59-year-old male, and he says, I have finally come to the conclusion that my mother is indeed a narcissistic parent. I have cut off all contact with her for the past 8 months, but the question I have is, can you speak to the traits of a narcissistic mother and also the guilt I have for my absence in her life? Well, Robert, first of all, you need to know that a narcissistic mother can often have what feels like an iron hold on their sons. This is because she can be very demanding of her son's attention. She tries to groom him into what she believes is just her perfect self, or something that will make her feel like she is the perfect mother. So it starts out with the mother really loving the son, adoring him, seeing him as such a special person on whom she can attach all of her grandiose dreams of success and power. But pretty soon, all of this can come at a pretty big price. So the men often feel possessed by their mothers, and they can have a great deal of difficulty with their own relationships later on in life. Unconsciously, they can belong to their mother, so it's hard for them to really give themselves to a partner when they cannot separate from their mother. Sons can be intimidated. They can feel a deep hatred for their mother because their mother is always blocking their way towards their own independence from her. Sons can feel obligated to this mother and spend much of their lives trying to please her. And you can even remain pleasers and feel guilty if they don't fulfill their mother's wishes. So it sounds like this is what you're feeling, that you feel guilty because you're no longer trying to please her, because you have had to leave her. There are sons who break from this. It can be a tough battle because the mother often infuses a lot of guilt. She can be a drama queen. She can insist on her way despite the damage that is incurred by the son. So those who do achieve separation and are freed, that then they can start to feel and express their own uniqueness without needing to do it in a way that only pleases their mother. So I really encourage you that if you cannot have contact with her, that you really do need to push away, that you do that for yourself. And the truth is that your mother will probably never stop the constant blow-ups and to accuse you of trying to leave her, but you do need to respect yourself first. So good luck with that. So in closing the program today and in talking about the power of choice, we really need to understand that we are the product of the choices that we make in our life. The way we perceive ourselves is a choice. We need to recognize that the experiences we have, the way we see ourselves, and the state of our own life, these are all a result of the choices we make. We choose this. No one else can do it for us. So if you don't like what you see, you can change that by making new choices. Each day we make countless choices. So how can we be sure we're making the right ones? Well, here are a few suggestions. The first one is to be aware of your choice. Become more mindful just of what you're feeling in the present and what you think, because you will be able to choose more wisely if you are more conscious of that. Also, listen to the whispers inside. They're telling you what you need to do and the choices that you need to make. The other thing that you can do is to analyze your choices. Does this help you or does this hurt you? Even choosing to not make a decision is making a choice. Also, put it through a filter. Ask, is it kind? Is it necessary? Or is it true? and do what you can to carry out your responsibilities, not because you have to, but because you want to. Tasks that you have to do create a feeling of having no power. Actions that you want to do lead to a sense of accomplishment and being empowered. And then, once you do choose, act on it. We create experiences in our lives through the quality of these choices that we make. And to make a choice without action is really just worthless. What you do need to remember is that you may not choose what happens, but you can always choose how you will respond to it. So please join me next Thursday between 2 and 3 p.m. when I will be back here to answer your questions. You can also listen to the program through live streaming by going to drkimtaylorshow.com. You can also email me with your questions and or tell me how you think the program's going. Tell me what are the topics that you would like to talk about. And you can do that at drkim@drkimtaylorshow.com. And don't forget to join the conversation on Twitter at Dr. Kim Taylor Show. And lastly, you can hear the rebroadcast Thursdays at 10 p.m. and Sundays at noon. I want to thank Richard Dugan here for his help and also Sandy. So until next week, don't forget, nobody else has to change in order for you to get better. Take care.